What's up? This is Naked Eli, the mostly unclothed gamer. Apologies for delaying this upload, but I had to get the world record for Data Hive on Legendary. I didn't want to give you guys just another guide. I wanted a world record since this mission was not nearly as optimized as it should have been by the current world record holder. I wanted to at least get a deathless world record, and so I beat the previous record by 10 seconds. This is a 12:53 Data Hive. This game has been out for 6 years, and you are currently witnessing the fastest legendary run that anyone has ever done on this mission in this game. So starting out, we're really just running a path, and so follow the path that I'm running. There's an inner route here that you can take. Those 4 grunts come out sometimes in the front, sometimes in the back, sometimes mixed. And then here there's going to always be 3 jackals in random positions. I try to headshot them by shooting their fists or feet, which then causes their shield to prop up, and then I can headshot them in the face. Then as you're coming down, notice how I'm trying to slide jump along every slanted surface. That actually saves like 6 or 7 seconds in the first 2 minutes. So it's really important if you're trying to go for the world record that you be doing this every time you're on a slanted surface. Jump, 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 hold down crouch, and then release crouch as you land and jump again. So you'll see here I'll get a little bit extra distance than I would normally. Now here you want to have your plasma pistol overcharged as you're coming out that door. Sometimes this brute will come out first, sometimes he won't. And then here sometimes that explosive will be up top, sometimes it won't. Sometimes that brute will be in the corridor, sometimes he won't. And so in Yolo strats, you essentially want to only target the brutes, because targeting the brutes is what allows us to just run past and causes the grunts to freak out. But sometimes when the grunts freak out, then they bring out their blue balls of death and commit suicide on your face. So that is a risk you run, that instead of killing all of the enemies as you're running through, you can actually help by, just targeting the leaders. Now there you want to target a frag at the ground. I find that it's better standing still instead of jumping because it goes deeper into the hole. And then if you kill all 4, or if you kill enough that the other ones are up top already, then those 2 drones will not actually know you're there. They won't witness your presence early. And so this allows us to just run straight through here. Now it's really important that you just never stop on this part, because these guys are going to kill you with their maulers if you do. And so YOLO strat is you just run on past, and the non-YOLO strat, by the way, is just to run through everything. And there's health packs in pretty much every single room, so as long as you got the ammo, you should be fine. Here, if I have full health, I'll actually just run straight through that corridor. Half the time these jackals will push through to this room, sometimes they won't. I got a really ridiculously lucky nade that took out those 3 jackals. You want to save 1 frag for later in the mission. Frags get more important on later parts, and we're going to pick up 2 later, and we're going to want all 3. Now here you notice how these grunts are freaking out, so this gives me the opportunity to move quickly through. I want my teammate, he's the trigger for the last section, so I'm trying to make sure that he stays quick in going through everything. Sometimes these guys will run through to that middle room, sometimes they won't, in which case I will throw 2 plasmas if I have them at the foot of the doorway where they like to hide. And then these guys also trigger when you run down that previous corridor. If there are grunts in front, then I will kill them and then plasma overcharge and headshot the brute. It's really important when you get a chance every single room to pick up a new plasma pistol. Notice that I've been keeping it fresh. Right there on the left was a health pack, but I was being super aggressive in this run trying to get the world record. And so you'll see what is possible with low health. You really don't need low health as long as you keep your shields high. And then right here, those guys decided to be very, very polite. They weren't shooting at me at all. Normally, they've got brute shots and carbines and spikers and plasma rifles. And by the way, all of their weapons are random. It seems like for some brutes, they have heavy weapons like a carbine or a brute shot, and others typically have smaller weapons. But it seems pretty random to me, and I've been running this for a lot of hours. So you want to grab those 2 frags right there. You drop down on the left. Shoot early here, which will draw the enemies out. And this is, by the way, the hardest part in ODST. This is where most of my runs ended. So we're going to want to get past here. Now, I was being extremely aggressive here. I would recommend that you actually sit back and clear out that front line. And also, I should mention that if you get all of the data, audio logs in the game, then your NPC becomes invincible and acts like this huge aggro machine. So it took me about an hour to go through and find all of the audio logs. And so all I did was go to the wiki where it had all of the logs on the site on like one page. and I sort of just mentally checked them off in my mind. And luckily my stream was also following along because I missed 2 of the audio logs, and then they knew exactly where to look, saved by the stream. And now that chieftain, you can use a plasma pistol overcharge to stun him. So if he's going to be shooting at you as you run down this ramp, which he usually is, and he can shoot you down the whole way, then you typically will save yourself by overcharging him, and then you can chuck a grenade or 2 at him or the other enemies and YOLO through that area. Of course, you could also play it safe and kill everything. Just takes more time. Alright, now here, you always want to target that brute first, and then this is the area where those frags really matter. Unfortunately, it looked like my frag moved all of the Yanmei instead of actually killing them, so I got redemption with this sticky, which took out that whole lot in the back. I would recommend fighting this from either the back of the room or that little behind that glass where I just was. There's a corner with a pillar, and if you stand there, it pisses them off because you're hiding. And so they push and they're really aggressive, and that lures them out so you can get a faster time killing them. And so once you make it past that part, you enter the door, you get full shields back, and sometimes you'll have almost no carbine ammo. You want to swap it for Dare's pistol, but make sure you don't get 0 ammo, because if you have nothing to trade, then Dare will not trade her full pistol with you. Here we can do a little slide jump off here. You see it actually does help accelerate our pace. And now here I like to shoot early. There's 1 grunt there, sometimes there's 2 grunts there, and then I found the 3rd grunt right here, which actually messed things up because I almost died to that brute shot. Notice how low my shield is. Now I can't do the YOLO strat. So the other YOLO strat was I push right here, I overcharge the brute who's usually hanging out on the left, and then there's a health pack in the middle console, which you'll see me get right now, and that's what we typically want to go for. So that as you're dying, you basically pick that up and you become full shield, full health again. So it's like almost having like a second life as you run through. Now typically this bubble isn't here, this brute was just freaking out. And so I would overcharge the brute and then run through. Now the carbine was trolling, and then the Yanmei, those little drones, actually pushed up to a place that I've never seen them push up before. Normally they're here on the left, and right behind me where I'm sitting right now is where I would actually hide between the 2 groups of enemies. But since I took so long on this section, Dare was able to draw that aggro, which is great because I am running very low on the carbine. It's probably in your best interest to trade for Dare's weapon. And so I pick it up here so you can see that to trade, it's really easy. It's the same as if you just hold down a weapon, but you're looking at her. And then I'm going to actually trade it anyways for the brute shot. Here we overcharge plasma pistol, brute shot the heck out of him, takes 2 shots. Then I'll blow 2 on the grunts who are here, and then I'll spend the last overcharge and last 2 shots on him. Careful because the grunts, I'm trying to say grunts, they will sometimes shoot that explosive and you will die, and it's sad face. Now here is an extremely difficult trick that took me a lot of practice, so I'm going to try and explain it to the best of my ability. Notice I'm jumping and meleeing to delay the checkpoint, so we get it right here. Look down at a 45-degree or 60-degree angle, shoot the brute shot, and now angle slightly to the right. You should have saved a frag. Remember I said frags are really important? Angle it slightly to the right, and as it's about to explode, you jump and shoot a brute shot at the same time. The frag is far and away the most consistent method. We've now not only skipped the elevator with Dare, but we've despawned every single drone that would come out of here. So this greatly accelerates our pace. And you can do that trick, by the way, with a plasma or a spike grenade, but you have to do it like looking the other way. There's 2 platforms opposite the one opposite the one I jumped on. And so here's another little time save, and you want to jump over to here, come back up to here, and then jump back up. That saves us from going all the way around there. And so instead of just walking, this saves like 8 or 9 seconds, which is totally worth it. And so yeah, basically the way that trick works with a plasma is you want to throw it about halfway. Like if you're looking at the ledge, throw it halfway between you and the ledge, and then jump and brute shot up directly down. You don't want to try and get horizontal distance, you want to try and get vertical distance. So yeah, just basically holding onto a frag is the easiest way, and you're guaranteed a frag right before level 9, where all those like bajillion brutes were in the ice. So just make sure you hold onto a frag and try to replicate like I do in the video. Now here, if you kill his 2 henchmen, then he freaks out, and becomes invincible, and we don't want that to happen because he adds new moves to his repertoire, and he changes like the variability in how he proceeds to do each of his attacks. So ideally you'll leave one alive and then kill him and then kill the last guy. The only problem with that strategy for speedrunners is that you saw that guy was hiding behind the box, and that's bad because the sooner we kill all the enemies in that area, the sooner Dare opens up the door. Now here is the final mega fight. You want to use your grav hammer to launch yourself backwards. You basically just keep jumping and the acceleration will push you all the way up here. This will allow us to get here before these guys take off, and then you can shoot right through all of them. Sometimes you can get that triple clean, and if you get it almost instantly, then you get a checkpoint like I did there. Otherwise, you will not get that checkpoint. Now I hide here waiting for this ship to come up. The turrets are pretty resilient, so we ignore them. And then if you have any grenades, you can throw it at that group of enemies. You want to immediately hammer back toward that health pack. And then notice I threw the rest of my grenades at all of these enemies. Or sometimes you might want to save them for the end when they bunch up. But what I like to do is I like to just go and hammer all the newbies. And this is why we definitely want to grab the hammer. And once everyone but one enemy is cleared, these back two doors will open. And then that's pretty much the end of the mission. That's the craziest stuff all out of the way. You don't want to shoot in this room because that'll wake the drones up and then they can kill the engineer and then you're sad. Also, I should mention that if you're doing safe strats on that last fight, then you definitely just want to keep the beam rifle and the carbine, sit back, snipe off the turrets, snipe off all the dudes on the ground, because the engineer travels with you. And so if you go to the left, the engineer goes to the left. If you go to the right, the engineer goes to the right. And if there's a ton of enemies in that area, then he will die almost instantly. So I've had some really incredible runs, and then Virgil just dies. It was very, very sad. Now this part is essentially a minute of time loss. There's no way to skip it. I feel like there's randomness, and I had a guy from my stream, Nibre, look into the code, and he says it's completely random depending on when these guys talk. So I think there's time save to be gained here as well. If they quickly move to the door and Virgil quickly moves to fix everything, then you could actually probably get an even faster time. So here you see me starting to freak out, like this could potentially be the world record. I was 43 seconds faster than my previous run at this time, and it was very close to the world record. So I was like, yes, finally, this is like one of the first Data Hive runs that is primary YOLO strats with no deaths. It was extremely difficult to do. I hope you guys don't mind that I took the extra time to do it. One last little trick, by the way, here you can use the hammer to push yourself back. Before you go through that door, look at them and then turn after you're past that forklift, and then that'll instantly teleport Virgil inside. Here you see I beat HLG Nagato, who was the previous record holder at 13:03, by 10 seconds with my 12:53. That mission is super, super, super hard, so I hope you guys enjoy some of the YOLO strats, or at least just had fun watching it. Next up, we have the last and final mission of ODST, Coastal Highway. Here's the world record table to show you guys that at least on MCC, no one has beaten this time. Hopefully it will stay there for a long time to come, but I have a feeling that Nagato is going to want to go back and crush it. Alright guys, take it easy, and good luck if you want to try to get the world record too. Peace.